Combs has quit, leaving the rapper's legal team ahead of his sex trafficking.
That the client is going to be guilty and they don't want to be associated with that guilt because that's a loss on their record.
Anthony Rico's withdrawal motion could be a game changer for Sean Diddy Combs' future. Here's why.
Illusions, right? You can say, wow, he's represented all these crazy folks in the past with checkered backgrounds. Why would he not want to continue to represent these folks? I tell all my clients this when they meet with me, that this type of engagement is a relationship. It's where if you're asking me to represent you, it's a meeting of the minds. Yes, it's contractual. Yes, I'll send you a retainer agreement. Yes, you'll exchange funds. But when we remove all of that, it's, do you really like me? Do I really like you? Do I feel comfortable?
Trust, yeah.
Do you trust me? Do you feel comfortable with me? When in the beginning, then we'd come together, my team would send an agreement out, and then we'd work together. But somewhere during the course of the relationship, things happen, just like in a marriage. Sometimes folks drift apart, and sometimes things are let out during the course of the investigation, or I should say during the course of the representation, where you recognize that, hey, I'm maybe not comfortable going the next mile with this case as I...
In a stunning turn of events, Diddy's once trusted attorney has unexpectedly stepped away from one of the most high-stakes legal battles in celebrity history. This isn't just a routine legal move. It's a seismic shift that has thrown the courtroom into turmoil, leaving insiders scrambling for answers.
Combs has quit, leaving the rapper's legal team ahead of his sex trial. The Nation but wrote, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel. He did not elaborate as to why. A judge still has to sign off on the request. Sean Diddy Combs faces charges including sex trafficking. He has pleaded not guilty.
How's the family doing? Family's doing fine. Difficult circumstance. We're trying to end all of the clowning that's going on the internet, and we're in a good place. Okay. Anthony. All right.
What about the reciprocal gag orders?
It's fine.
He was blowing kisses to his kids. He was clearly emotional today. I mean, you guys, I think it's the first time we've seen him that emotional in court.
Times are changing.
For the better?
Mr. Rico, for the appeal, what does the appeal stand? You spoke to him at length.
He's doing fine. It's a difficult circumstance. He's making the best of the situation. You know, Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. Sometimes the more people push you down,
Imagine standing at the eye of a legal storm, where every word carries weight, every decision shapes the future, and a single attorney's abrupt departure sparks more questions than answers. That's precisely the situation unfolding as Anthony Rico, one of Diddy's 6 defense lawyers,
high-profile death penalty attorney Anthony Rico. Now, while the pair joined around the same time, Anthony in a court filing on Friday said he's leaving the case. In the filing, Anthony Rico said, quote, for the reasons set forth below, this motion for withdrawals is filed so that Sean Combs may move forward with his defense and to commence jury selection and trial without any delay. As a result of discussion with lead counsel Mark Agnifilo, this motion for withdrawal of counsel is filed. While I am aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted, there are sufficient reasons related to protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Although I have provided Sean Combs with the high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, end quote. Now, essentially in legalese, I quit, but I can't go into details because of attorney-client privilege. According to the filing, though, the defense shakeup won't delay the case. Diddy will continue with 5 attorneys. That's Mark Agnifilo, Tenny Garagos, Alexandra Shapiro, Jason A. Driscoll, and Anna Esteval. Now, a judge still has to sign off on the motion, but with the government taking no position on it and the fact Anthony Rico spoke with Mark Agnifilo about it before filing the motion, a judge will likely sign off on it. Now, as I mentioned, Anthony Rico is a very well-established death penalty attorney and was lead defense in up to 45 federal death penalty cases. His bio on the Fordham Law University website says some of the notable yet controversial cases included Anthony Rico serving on the counsel in the World Trade bombing conspiracy case and embassy bombing in 1998.
And yeah, kind of just looking at the motion to withdraw too, like you had mentioned before, not much reasoning given. Anthony Rico wrote, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case. Although I've provided Sean Combs with the high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel. 5 other attorneys will remain on record. What do you make of just that it felt like he was saying a lot, but then not at all much at the same time.
Well, when you withdraw, really, you still need to protect the client and the confidences. So you don't want to say something that may jeopardize him or the case. And you also need leave or permission of the judge. So you want to provide enough so the judge knows that you're not leaving the client high and dry, but you don't want to provide too much that may compromise defense strategy or a weakness in the case or some other issue that would hurt the client. So it is a delicate balance.
Why would a seasoned high-profile attorney abruptly step away from defending one of the biggest names in music? The full reasoning remains shrouded behind attorney-client privilege, but Rico's unexpected decision, made after discussions with lead counsel Mark Agnifilo, has set off a wave of speculation. Is it the mounting pressure from relentless scrutiny in a case riddled with allegations of racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and abduction? Or is there something even more ominous lurking?
There are a couple of things, and you have to read between the lines. He said there's two things. It's effective assistance, right? Or you have the ineffective assistance of counsel. You don't want that as an attorney. Ineffective assistance of counsel means you didn't do your job. So he said, I can no longer go forward effectively assisting this person, meaning I can't do my job. In court, because I can't do my job, I need you to grant me the permission, the authority to walk away from this relationship. Basically, grant my divorce.
Is there some possible case here where it could be a conflict of interest?
That's normally something that you would do before the relationship. You'd say, hey, have I dated you in the past? Have I dated anyone that you know in the past? That conflict of interest is required. You want to have a conflicts check. You want to ensure that you don't have anything that puts you or the...
Listen to the attorney.
That also happens as well, but again, that deteriorates the relationship. If I'm constantly saying, this is the strategy, this is where I think we should go, and I have a client that's saying, you know what, I don't really agree with that, I want to go a different direction. It's always the client's decision. If I've recognized that this client is not listening to any of the advice that I'm giving, sometimes that's time for you to say, you know what, let's part ways before we get to trial, before we get down to this jury selection. Because once we get to this part, there's not a judge in America.
As the legal storm escalates, Diddy, now 55, faces allegations of running a criminal enterprise under the CMS umbrella, with his businesses, including Bad Boy Entertainment and CMS Global, allegedly enabling illicit activities. Court documents paint a chilling picture of coercion, physical assault, and systematic abuse spanning years. With over one
ongoing legal saga seemingly has been affecting the hip-hop mogul's businesses and business ventures. Some companies even distancing themselves from Diddy prior to the federal raids on his LA and Miami homes. The fallout followed the slew of sexual allegations made against the rapper and producer, including his former girlfriend Cassie's now settled but explosive federal lawsuit against Diddy, where she accused the Bad Boy Records founder of physical abuse and forcing her to have sex with male sex workers. Within the subsequent weeks, the rapper and producer would be embroiled in 4 other sexual misconduct lawsuits where Diddy faces allegations of harassment, battery, gang, as well as sex and Diddy has maintained his innocence throughout the ongoing legal saga. That all appeared to change months later. According to a TMZ report, Diddy had sold off all of his shares of Revolt TV to an anonymous buyer for an undisclosed amount. The news was revealed shortly after the feds raided Diddy's homes. Selexco, who previously managed Diddy as an artist, no longer lists him as a client on their website. According to Billboard, Diddy hired the artist management company, which manages the likes of The Weeknd, Ty Dolla $ign, French Montana, and Brandy back in 2021. But at this time, it's unclear when Diddy was scrubbed from the website or if he was officially dropped as a client. Last July, Diddy announced he'd be launching Empower Global, which according to his team was a curated immersive e-commerce platform that allows consumers to discover and buy products exclusively created and sold by Black entrepreneurs. Diddy founded the company in 2021. After the company was launched, he told the Associated Press in an interview he wanted to create the Black Wall Street and felt passionate about building wealth within his community, even investing $20 million into the platform. But by the end of the year, nearly 20 companies terminated their partnership with the e-commerce platform, one company even telling Rolling Stone magazine they made the decision after Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy. According to entertainment attorney Mitra Ahorian, the brand's move to distance themselves from the mogul isn't surprising.
I don't don't find it unusual, and actually, in my opinion, the moves have been sort of mild. There hasn't been huge announcements about, dropping him from anything. He is no longer on his, management roster's website. He stepped down from Revolt TV and sort of quietly sold all his shares, but they issued a very, sort of mild statement about protecting, their objective and the purpose of the station and not distracting with these other things that are going on. So that was kind of this fair, understandable statement.